in Texas and get an understanding. I know some of you guys watching online may not be here, but that's okay because you're going to understand how these things go and what happens. And I want you to understand how to research these things in your city, in your state, so that you're not voting for things that are going to put you in bondage. And I'm going to tell you, anytime you see a bond on the ballot, bonds equal bondage. Remember that. If you don't remember anything else we say tonight, bonds equal bondage. Because what happens is cities tend to take out they take your tax dollars and they'll fund these crazy projects. There was a few years ago, I had these signs around Dallas that said bonds equal bondage. And it was because the Dallas College Board decided to do a bond election. And in the bond election, they wanted to spend $1.1 billion on their community colleges. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds like they're going to be trying to educate the kids or something. I did some research. See, we can't just stop at the surface and think because the school that, well, they're trying to get money to educate the children. That would be our first thought, right? For a logical person, that's your first thought. They're trying to get more money so that they can make sure children are more educated. That wasn't the case. So and you couldn't find it on the surface. You had to dig deep into reading through. It was like 28, 29 pages of information. And at the end of the day, what it came down to was they wanted this $1.1 billion to acquire another piece of property that was next to a current school that they have that didn't have enough students in it already. And they wanted to do some upgrades to the school. And the upgrades were they wanted to add marble floors and marble columns. What does marble floors and marble columns have to do with education? Most of those students probably don't even know the difference between marble and granite. And so we're going to put marble floors and marble columns in a school where most of the students that are coming there barely graduated from high school. Because it is no secret that those of us that are informed, we recognize that most of the students that are graduating, they're graduating and they can't read or do basic math above a third grade level. But they're graduating after spending 12 years in school and can't read above a third grade reading level. They can't do math above a third grade reading level. I can't even remember what kind of math I was working on in third grade. That's been a little while ago. But I can't imagine being further along in life and not being able to do a certain level of math. It goes to what I told you guys a few weeks ago where I was at that Oeda's restaurant and the girl, the register went down and the girl couldn't make change for me. She couldn't figure out how to make change because the computer was down. And she used her device for so many other things, she didn't even think about, well, maybe I could use the calculator on my phone. When I brought it to her attention, she said, there's a calculator on my phone? See, most of us adults in the room, we know because we've kind of tried to figure out that stuff that's on our phone, whether we could figure it out or not. But most of us are able to figure these things out in our head. So when I told the young lady, I said, and this is my bill. I said, can you put a 20% tip on there? She did what you guys are doing, laugh like, I just told you, sir, the register's not working. I said, well, you can still figure up a 20% tip. Do you have a piece of paper where you can write it out? She said, excuse me? People don't use paper anymore. I said, well, when your computer goes down, you have to revert back to what always works. Pen and paper always works. And so I'm standing there, people are behind me, they're getting impatient, and they're thinking we're just having a conversation. I have to explain to them, I'm actually teaching her how to figure up my receipt and what I owe and how to make change. because she didn't know. She didn't know how to figure out my bill with the 20% tip, nor did she know how to make change without the computer telling her. And I didn't realize that these computers have dumbed our children down. So to one of the things that she brought to my attention is that it even tells her how many dollar bills, how many fives, how many tens, how many 20s to give you back. So she doesn't have to actually count the money. She just needs to know that the computer tells me I need to give Mike 2 5s, 4 1s. So I'm glad she can count to 4. But this is where we are. So